Hello everyone and welcome to Cosmic Crit! We are a Starfinder role-playing game actual play podcast, and you're now listening to the very first episode of our show. My name is Patrick, and I am your game master, your podcaster, and your catastrophic disaster, just waiting to happen. And boy oh boy do we have a treat in store for you in podcast form. On this very first episode of Cosmic Crit, we get introduced to all 5 of our main characters. We get to see a bit of them interacting with the world, and we'll explore the setting at the heart of Starfinder, Absalom Station. Before we start, I want to thank you for downloading this and giving us a listen. This podcast is free, and the only price of admission is I ask if you like what you hear, that you subscribe, or you write us a review, or tell your friends. Also, if we have done something horrendously wrong, please tell us by dropping us a line at cosmiccrit@gmail.com. This is already a long episode, so I'm not going to take up any more time here. Please enjoy episode 1 entitled Space Hooligans.
Episode commencing in 3, 2, 1. Episode initiated.
Hi everyone, you're excited, we're excited, the dice are excited, and we are fully locked and loaded and ready to go on this first episode of Cosmic Crit. Welcome everybody.
Yay!
Woo! My name is Patrick. I'm your host and the game master for this game that we're about to play. We are ready to play. We're warmed up. Our vocal cords are ready. But we first got to introduce you to the crew of the USS Cosmic Crit podcast itself, your players and my co-hosts. And we're going to do that by going around our digital table. I like to pretend you guys are sitting right in front of me where my computer screens are. So to my left, clockwise, first, in alphabetical order, is our first player, my buddy Drew. How are you doing, Drew?
I'm very tired, Patrick, but I love you. So I'm here. I've got my fanciest clothes on. It's a t-shirt.
No one said to dress nice.
Well, it's a t-shirt, and I'm not wearing pants, so...
That's as fancy as you get, so thank you very much. I'm honored. Drew, you look to your left. It's another good friend of ours, yours and mine. Say something, Jabert.
Hey everybody, this is Bert. I'll be your mechanic for the next. I don't know, how long is this thing going to go on for?
For probably 3 or 4 episodes.
Okay.
At the very least.
Before we all get in the ship and then immediately get blown up.
Sitting directly across from me, to the left of Jabert, is a man that needs an introduction, Miles. Hey, Miles.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
No one knows who you are yet. That's why I need an introduction. Good. You're at like the head of the table. I'm also at the other end of the table. So
now I'm feeling honored.
You're
Awesome.
in a power position, but I'm always gonna lock eyes dead on with you.
Excellent.
We are not doing this via video.
I'm stoked to play. I am very, very excited. Looking forward to this for a long, long time and for the foreseeable future.
Forever. And then
if it's up to you, yeah.
To your left now on the right side of my table is undoubtedly going to be the breakout star of the show, Rebecca.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence.
You're welcome.
And then to my right and to your left, Rebecca, last but not least, is my player pal, Tyler.
I'm so excited. It's been months of pent up waiting, and now we get to play.
I know.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of pressure on to finally get into the game.
And I'm willing to go on record. Starfinder, best thing to happen in 2017. That's just what it's going to be.
Not a high bar, but I'll tell you what.
That's a super high bar.
I'm very excited about this. There's tons of other games coming out this year, but this was the game for me, and now we finally get to play it. So if you're just tuning in, we did have an episode 0 where you can find out more about us and what we think about the game and a little bit about who we are as players. You can listen to that, or you can skip it and come right here where you're at, and we're about to start game number 1 right now. So our adventure starts in a seedy back alley corridor of Absalom Station. Condensation from old ducts above you kind of drips over your heads, and the area that the 5 of you are standing in has this mixed pungent smell of rust and sweat that is kind of pervasive in this entire series of corridors. A series of chem lights pulsates on the wall behind you and illuminates the 5 of you that are just standing in a row, kind of backs to the wall. You're in various states of dishevelment. We've got torn clothing, a few black eyes, some bloody noses, cut and split lips. And there's a sixth figure, a human man that's walking up and down this battered lineup, and he shakes his head. He pulls out a data pad, and looking over his screen, he says, "What in the pronk happened in there? Let's see here. We've got inciting a riot, looting, unlawful entry, loitering. I didn't even know what this one meant. I had to look it up. Hooliganism. Pegged you for that one too. We got resisting a robotic security bot, disrespecting a robotic security bot, destroying a robotic security bot. We got 13 counts of assault, conspiracy to trespass, unlawful loitering. Again, I guess. I think I said that one twice. Moving on, we've got general malfeasance, sedition against station authority, thought crimes, future crimes, and including the damages to the bar, injuries to the patrons, and the broken equipment. We're talking a mass bundle charge of super destruction. Oh, and let's not forget, last but not least, littering." He looks at you. The five of you also look at one another, wondering perhaps who got nabbed for littering. An LED marquee of pink letters flashes above your heads, and it reads, "A few hours earlier." And we're gonna start with Miles, you, my friend, a couple hours earlier before that scene happened. We open on your character walking down a dimly lit avenue of the city at the center of space, Absalom Station. So you're in the upper spike, which is kind of like the area that hangs below the station, kind of like the undercity.
Okay.
Absalom is a massive space station, huge space station, millions of people, millions of different life forms, thousands of alien species, and it is the #1 central hub of commerce and travel for everywhere, for the entire galaxy. And it's what used to be Galarian, but now is just a single space station. The smell that you have here is very acidic, kind of like the astringent chemicals that they probably use like in their automatic robots that power wash like all the bulkheads here so things don't kind of like burn up or get painted over. And it smells very much like burnt metal and recycled air. Looking around, you see some gang members standing guard at one end of this street. They're listening to some Akatonian Shumka tunes, just like some super beat heavy music from the planet Akaton. And walking past you, there's a few Yosoki salvagers, and they've got this big old destroyed bulky robot tied up with ropes, and they're just dragging it down the street. Miles, remind us, who is it that you are playing?
I'm playing Raimi, the human technomancer.
Raimi, technomancer. What's Raimi look like?
So Raimi stands about 6'1", olive skin, kind of disheveled, dark hair, green eyes. Do you need his like clothing?
I mean,
well?
if you'd like, what's the general
he's got
kind of
this
impression?
He's got he's got second skin armor, and above that he has a sleeveless vest of kind of all of his technomancer gear and little pockets and stuff, kind of for trouble, I guess. He's got knee-high boots with a little bit of knee pad armor on it, and just typical slacks.
Cool.
I guess, other words.
Any identifying marks on him?
Yes. On his right bicep, he has a grinder symbol, which is a triangle of 3 different kinds of gears.
Cool.
All turning.
Oh, so you know he's a cool guy. He's got a tattoo.
And he has a scar on his left eye that's often obscured by a pair of goggles that he wears.
Ah, cool. Is there anything you want to add about him? Like where he's from, kind of what he's doing, who he is? We got he's a technomancer. What else is there to know about Raimi?
So right now what you really need to know about him is that he's kind of a low-key character. He's a information broker. He trades in secrets. He tends to kind of get himself involved in vigilantism, mostly involving with authoritarian governments and stuff like that, trying to
fight the system.
Justice. Exactly, he fights the system, but mostly just unfair systems.
Right.
He does not let his origin
those good ones
become known very frequently. He's not a big sharer, and so tends to be a little guarded to people he doesn't know or to people he doesn't trust, which is most people.
So
if you want to know more about him, you can read on the Cosmic Crib website his background story.
Oh, we got all kinds of fun goodies on there and more stuff to be released. But it's cool, like hearing the description. I've got a mental picture of him as well, and it's it's vibrant. It's like 3-dimensional because it's like tied to your voice as well. So this is kind of cool because this is like the first time really that it's been brought to life in a conversation. We've like texted about Raimi and we've like written
Yeah, we've been
stuff,
talking about this
but-
character for several months. Yeah.
Yeah, but now he's ready. I'm not, are you ready, Miles, to
I'm ready.
make
Yeah.
our first roll of the game, which
Yeah.
is going to be obviously the most important skill forever and ever. Can you make me a perception check? Perception, a
Yes.
wisdom based.
Just a 9.
Yeah, so wisdom based skill. I'm just gonna try and go through rules like as we go. But for a skill based roll, I'm gonna set a difficulty you have to hit, and you roll a 20-sided die and add your bonuses for whatever it says on the perception. For Miles, you've rolled a 5 on a d20, so not a great start. But you have a +4, which is actually pretty good for first level character. So that's a 9. And this is actually going to be an opposed check, so I've got to do some rolling as well. I've rolled a 10, so right off the bat,
Of course you did.
probably not going to be great. So yeah, you continue just kind of like walking down the corridor, and you're completely ignorant that someone kind of steps out of a side street and starts creeping up behind you. And eventually a hand reaches out and just kind of pulls you on the shoulder, like jacks up your vest and pulls you backwards towards them. And as I don't know, if you start to raise fists against him or start conjuring a magic spell, he says, "Hey, there, friendo. It's me, Blex." And standing before you is a guy that you know, Blex Forbin, a hired gun, a fixer, and the kind of guy that just kind of like connects people on Absalom Station. Doesn't really do a ton of work himself, puts people together though. Raimi's known Blex for like 3 years, and you might have gotten some various jobs and contracts through him. He's kind of similar to looking to you. He's human. He's got some silvery hair and maybe some greenish yellow eyes that shows he might have some like elven ancestry somewhere distantly in the past. So he's got like maybe a teeny point to his ears. Dresses in station wear just to blend in. And he says, "I've been looking for you. Got the specs from that broad at the Starfinder Society. They're looking for someone to put together a team. Got a mission lined up. Sounds big, so first name I gave her was yours."
Blex, I've told you again and again, I'm not looking for freelance Starfinder work right now.
They are in a bind, and they are paying really well, friendo. Real well.
Define really well.
I mean, this is a good line on some hard credits. And I know you don't typically work with other people. You work alone. But if you get this job done, then they're going to give you more Starfinder work. Maybe you get to branch out on your own. But listen, I've got some other names picked out here. Take a look at these 4. You tell me what you think. See if we can trust them. See if we can all work together.
All right, let me see. What have you got? Just give it to me.
Yeah, so he like beams over to your computer from his data pad, a little missive, and it's got some preloaded files on it. And thumbing through them, there's like some faces and names. I just take a look at these, but head on down in the meantime and just meet up with them. There's, the HUD Bar down south side of the ring. I told him to meet you there.
Wait, you already gathered them?
Yeah, this is a time-sensitive thing. You want the big bucks, you've got to, put a little let out. Starts tomorrow morning, so.
All right, it's the last time, Blex. I'm not doing one of these freelance jobs.
I mean, you're not doing me a favor. I'm doing you the favor. You think my cutback is that big? You're going to be getting the big bucks. You're going to be getting those connections with the faction big heads over at the society.
Save your pitch work for someone else. I know you. You know me. We don't need to do this. I'll go.
All right. That's what I like to hear. The Raimi ready to make some hard creds. Miles, can you make me a culture check? Very, very easy one. DC 10. See if you can recall some information about this bar that he mentioned, HUD Bar.
Okay.
Now, do you have anything in culture?
I don't think so.
D20.
Yeah, +3, so it's 8.
You wrote the same number.
Classic. Okay, so with an 8, you're actually not sure. I mean, this station's a big place, and you've traveled through here. But when he says, "Yeah, just meet him at the HUD Bar," you kind of come up blank. So this culture skill, it can allow you to recall information about history, laws, government, people, general locale, and the culture around you. But just came up short on this one piece of information.
So what I'll do is I just kind of poke at my wrist and say, "Hey, Wick," which is the name of my personalized computer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Wick. Hello.
Hey, can you give me the location of a bar called the HUD?
Blex kind of like snorts under his breath. He says, HUD Bar, down south side, lower tier, lot 840. Look, I'll send Wick your computer the info. But I thought you knew this station better than I did. Forgot you're an off-worlder.
Yeah, you got me there.
So he beams you the information, gives you like the finger guns, like pew pew pew, as he walks away, and yeah, he leaves you with the data files on your computer, Wix, like sorting them out so you can see them one by one and kind of like swipe right through them. As you're reading them and walking in that direction, a transport ship hums by, preparing for docking maneuvers, and that's where we're going to move on to our next player, Rebecca. We're doing this all kinds of crazy order. First Miles, now Rebecca. Rebecca, we're headed your way, and there is the massive screeching of metal as a ship comes into port, connecting with the loading dock, and it's these huge metal clamps that like secures itself to the deck. The sound almost every single time this happens is so loud it can echo through the corridors of the arms of Absalom Station for thousands of feet. It's no different this time. This large passenger ship unloads and there is a flurry of movement. Automatic robot workers boot up, and human and dwarven stevedores, the fabled arm dockers, kind of like spring into action. But this transport vessel is currently out of Castroville, and written in neon blue tiles along the side of it is the name the Gnosis. As all the travelers start to pour out of this transport ship, you see there's creatures of all shapes and sizes from different systems and exotic planets. And they join just kind of like a mass exodus from tons of other docking bays walking along this main concourse. But stepping right now from the umbilical tube behind these hosts of families and businessmen is a young Lashunta woman with a small orb of blue flame over her shoulder. Rebecca, who is this that you are playing tonight?
This is Lendar of Vales.
Alyndra of Vales. And she is indeed Lashunta.
Yes.
Karasha Lashunta, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's correct.
Cool race, and the Karasha.
Right. So Lashunta are they choose rather, like when their children are trained to either be Demaya or
Bracer Karasha.
Yeah, Karasha.
Karasha.
Yeah, so the her mother was actually Karasha too, and her father was Demaya. But Karasha tend to be strong and warrior-like, where the Demaya are more diplomatic and yeah.
Got a little bit of dad and mom, I imagine, with your class, which is Solarian.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about maybe what you know or Lendra knows about Solarians?
She knows very little.
Yeah.
But she's a big astronomy fan, has been apprenticing under a renowned astrophysicist on a distant planet and experienced a very strange phenomenon in which she seemed to have taken on these powers, and she gleaned from her research, her very limited amount of research on this distant planet, just because of lack of resources, but she gleaned that it was associated with the Solarians and the powers that they exhibited. And now she has this moat. So she must have these Solarian powers, but she really wants to learn more. She really has very limited knowledge at the moment.
I'm just thinking about this, but I mean, if your character was afraid of the dark, you've got a nightlight forever.
I know. It's awesome. She glows.
Yeah, she glows. Speaking of what she looks like, what does she look like? What does she look like stepping off of probably a day or so trip from Castroville here to Absalom Station?
Yeah, so she's a medium-sized Lashunta. I mean, she is on the shorter side, I guess. But she stands tall. She's young and excited to be stepping out into a new world. She's been kind of cooped up on this distant planet for so long. She's really excited to get out there again. She's young. She's about 22 in Absalom Station years. I guess that would be 44 in Castroville. But she's got long blonde hair that she ties back in braids. And she wears sort of explorer gear. I mean, as an astronomy student, she's all about the comfort. She has a star map that she keeps with her all the time. That's a treasured family heirloom. And she also has a tattoo of one of her favorite made-up constellations. That was one of her things when she was a child, is she would make up constellations. She's
All right,
super obsessed with the stars.
Confirmed 2 cool characters because you both have his tattoos. Man.
Yeah, and not only tattoos, but they're both in the shape of a triangle, because mine are 3 stars.
Oh boy, you guys did not
jeez.
confirm with one another. Only one of you is going to have a change into a trapezoid,
Right,
or a square, something.
Rhombus.
Yeah.
An important physical description for her is that she has heterochromia, so she has one green eye and one violet eye, which is rather unusual for Lashunta since they really value symmetry. So it's sort of unusual that she has different colored eyes.
Something in the water on Castroville, I guess.
Yeah, or something in these weird powers that came up, but or that alien planet she was born on. Who knows where it comes from?
So many mysteries.
A little bit. Column A, column B, maybe a dash of column C. So you're here on Absalom Station because you've got, a lead on some Starfinder Society contracts, but you're also here to visit your master Pasalar, who you apprenticed with for probably a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're just stepping off, kind of getting your bearings, 2 Abadar Core security robots walk along the metal gangway, stand sentinel kind of near you. As soon as you walk by, you see one has written in neon orange paint graffiti that says robot pronkhead with an arrow pointing to the security robot's head, and it comes up to you and it says, "Please move along, traveler. Keep the docks clear. Please move along, traveler."
Okay. So
What
Lendra
do
will
you
keep
do?
walking.
This is gonna be a hard fight for you. Please move along, traveler. Exterminate. Yeah. So as you're kind of backing away from them, there's this high pitched squealing sound, and right behind you, a couple of the armed dockers start shouting something, and you can just barely sense that as you turn and you see one of these robotic haulers tumble over. I need you for your first skill check to make an acrobatics check. Pretty hard one too, not gonna lie.
Oh
DC
gosh.
15. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in trouble.
Acrobatics. It's a skill. It measures how your speed, your swiftness.
Oh,
Yeah, I rolled a 20.
Natural 20. It don't matter.
First roll
what your
of
bonus
cosmic.
is. Yeah, this is why I said the sure to be breakout star of the show. It's not even
This
that
is
important.
disgusting. Her first roll.
That was
20.
all I had for you. So I guess there's some other.
I'm counting on that being the
failed that one.
only 20 for a while.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
probably.
So this thing drops a ton of crates in front of you, and you just jump back like a cat and land, perfectly unharmed. And the dock workers are staring at you oh, thank goodness. Oh, you could have been pinned under there for a while.
Was the dock worker 75 years old?
Yeah, the dwarf is probably
okay. My apologies.
Oh boy,
I just-
thank goodness you didn't get pinned under all those boxes.
Yeah, that was really lucky.
I'm a dwarf.
better get outta here.
Wait, no, did you want to hear my story?
Oh yeah, sure. Tell me all about it.
I'm a dwarven stevedore. I've worked here for my entire life.
Oh,
Please don't-
that's fascinating.
Please don't ask me any more questions. You're safe.
I am.
Go live a long life.
Thank
I've
you for your
wasted-
concern.
I've wasted mine. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
didn't even ask his name. How dare you? Have no respect for your
Did he
game
die?
master. Well,
he literally said, "Don't ask me any more questions."
yeah, no, that was him playing hard to
Well,
GM.
nice to meet you. I'm gonna go die now.
All right, so you likewise, Alyndra, have the location of this bar called the HUD Bar, where not only were you told to meet up for this Starfinder gig, but also made arrangements to meet, I guess, Master Pasalar there as well. Can you give me also a culture check, DC 10, to see if you can recall information about where it is?
Yeah, I've got a +1 in addition to my 7, so that gives me an 8.
Okay, so unfortunately, you were looking at a map as soon as you got to the station and the area that's around the eye of the station, this huge biodome. So you have to backtrack and you have to log into the infosphere to get your bearings. So it's pretty late by the time that you get to the HUD and you walk up. It's a very dark bar built into the side of an old bulkhead of the station. It at one point might have been very prominent, but now it's just kind of a a derelict part of the station itself. But yeah, before you, this small hole in the wall only has 3 letters, kind of denoting it as anything besides a bulkhead, and it's lit up behind corrugated metal burnt with a plasma cutter, and it reads HUD, the HUD Bar. And as you step inside, we travel down to our next player, several levels from the ring down to the spike, the lower section of Absalom Station. We're going to you, Jabert, coming to you next, sir. How's it going, Jabert?
It's good. It's good.
This scene starts in the vacuum of space, or at least pretty well adjacent to the vacuum of space. And what you see floating in the silence in zero gravity is a blue skin, palish white eyes, naked as the day they came into this world android. Jabert, your character is floating outside the artificial gravity well of the station and tethered only by this small filament kind of like tied around your waist back into a dry dock. And yeah, so you're out there getting some rest, getting like the only time, unless you fall asleep, complete silence to dream and think of things you might have never seen before. Tell us a little bit about who it is you're playing. Who is this Andis?
Sure. So this is Andis. Andis is an android of indeterminate origin, and they spend their time as a mechanic here on Absalom Station, and they've been doing it for about 14 years now.
It's a pretty long time.
Yeah. It's a pretty good run. They do okay. They do okay with business. It's a little slow.
Yeah, so imagine you had a pretty small dry dock compared to the rest of the ones in this neighborhood you're in, the Sparks. That there's like bigger ones. There's more professionally built ones, and you can't really handle anything like over a medium-sized ship.
Sure. Right now it's just Andis and their Yosoki ward, Nezumi. And Andis has been training Nezumi for the last 7 years, and he's coming along. He's coming along nicely. I think
that's
Andis
a serious
thinks
apprenticeship.
Andis thinks that soon he'll be able to take over the business, and maybe Nezumi will be able to make something of himself.
So I gave a brief description, but what does Andis normally look like?
Sure.
As an android?
Sure. So as an android, they're built with sort of a sleek figure. The skin has kind of a pale bluish hue to it, and there are a bunch of kind of like circuit lines that kind of like run like down the body and like down out to like the extremities and kind of carry like impulse and such. Andis is a bit of an older model,
Yeah.
They're more kind of plate-like at this point, and there's a lot more like kind of metal happening than you see on a lot of the newer models of androids.
A little more angular than like some can almost blend completely in with humans, what they look like. But
Sure.
Depending on where the android is, what like birthing factory they come from, they could have very distinct differences between them. You might come up with one that's completely flesh colored, and you might come up with some that are very, very blue or crazy other colors.
Right. Andis doesn't know how they got like that, how they ended up, looking this way. They would assume that they were just manufactured in a cheap facility
from a situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you're floating out there in space, a small reminder in your lower brain, your exocortex begins to hum an alarm. And as you open your eyes, you see the starfield ahead of you, and what's known as the Armada, this vast blanket of ships that kind of swarms around Absalom Station. Little lights kind of glinting in the sun. But yeah, you have a meeting at this bar, and you need to be on your way. So to get back to the station, pretty important athletics check to start to reel yourself back into the dry dock. Athletics is, just what it sounds like. You're able to use strength to kind of get things done, move your body.
All right.
So, don't know what you're. Not bad. So you've rolled a 16, and you have a +4 bonus. Is that right?
That's correct.
Alex? That's pretty darn good for what you needed. So you really only got to give yourself like a few tugs, and you can speed yourself up by going hand over hand along this filament, this rope. And yeah, you're back to the dry docks door, and you're safely back inside and dressed within just a few minutes. But yeah, back inside, the doors open up, and as you get back into the station proper, you're greeted with just like screeches and rumbles and shouts, and the station makes these groaning noises every once in a while as it's kind of shifting and bending itself. And this is the place that you've called home for many years, Absalom Station.
That's the one. Sweet home.
So you're able in your brain just to like figure out how long it takes you to walk almost anywhere in the station, and you know where you're going, the HUD Bar, for this Starfinder Society contract. But yeah, so you head out walking along the streets first of your neighborhood, the Sparks, and you walk past tons of workers streaming past you that work in the dry docks. A lot of them like you know, android engineers prized for their ability to, just like you did, work in a vacuum and not suffer any like crazy ill effects.
It's handy.
And they're constantly servicing and scrapping ships. Jabert, as Andis is walking and you're kind of looking off to these other androids walking past you, to your side, a hand reaches out from behind a support column set against the interior wall of the station, and a robed figure grabs you, just kind of like grabs you by the scruff of like your overalls or your station suit.
Yeah, my plate suit.
He says, please, have you any currency, any creds you can spare?
I'm going to sense motive, guy.
Oh man, you foresaw what I was going to ask for. Sense motive, it was only a DC 12. See if you could figure out what's happening here. You've rolled an 8. Probably not going to make it, but you have a +6 in sense motive, which is, I don't want to say great for an android. You've been around humans and non-androids for so long, kind of can tell if you're being cheated or lied to, and or if you just have a bad hunch about something. So
yeah. Andis is relatively skeeved out by people, and so
yeah. So the figure kind of can tell this as well, and he lets go of you. He doesn't. I mean, you pass this sense motive check. He doesn't seem like a beggar. The robe looks pretty well kept. The human hand that grasped at you is maybe a little dirty, but healthy looking compared to some of the downtrodden here on Absalom Station. So yeah, he doesn't look like a beggar to you.
Andis turns to face him and says, "What's your game here?"
I'm collecting for the church.
Curious. Why do you touch me?
Why do we touch anyone in our lives? So when the day comes when we stand before the transformation and we pray to the gods that we are not gone from this world, we hope those we have touched are alongside of us.
I see. And will I be alongside you?
Most definitely.
Wonderful. And I turn around and walk away.
So no credits. Okay, got it. Go with the gods while they still keep you in their good graces.
Not listening.
So, I mean, pretty much the rest of the way to the HUD Bar is you've timed it out there, and like get there exactly at the like 9 p.m. time or whatever you've set. And yeah, you enter into the bar, that HUD, and you're met with this cozy den of aliens and hired thugs, and you see a bunch of dock workers, people down from the Spike, off-hours head scanners, and adventurers, kind of some common folk, and they're all mingling together, having a smoke a Atmo, maybe eating some nutrient paste, and washing it down with all manner of intoxicants. This is the HUD Bar.
I feel like Andis has been here, once or twice.
I mean, for 14 years, there's maybe a few hundred bars in the entire station, and you can probably hit them both. In your wild years on Absalom Station, you do that 200 bar crawl. Oh boy, got that fort save ready.
That first night on Absalom. Ooh boy, watch out.
So as you walk inside, the ceiling here is just a blanket. It's this massive cloud, this haze of acrid smoke that's like somewhere between burning electricity and very sweet pipe smoke. So plumes of vapor are just coming out of like all corners of the bar, and this heavy atmosphere kind of mingles up there into this greenish gray cloud. So yeah, half the bar is taken up by these very large canisters, and you know that they're full of liquidized atmosphere from other potent exotic gas planets. Yeah, you can see they're like glass bottles, and they're in crystalline form inside there.
Is this kind of like an oxygen bar or something?
It's a little bit of everything. You can drinks, you can get some food, you can get some Atmo, but it really is kind of caters to all types. But yeah, all manner of aliens attached to these things by a breathing apparatus. Inside the bar, we're gonna switch views again. Now, past the haze of acrid smoke, towards the back, we see another player and another character. Tyler, we're going on to you, sir.
Ooh.
Long time no chat. You are in the back of the HUD bar as we step inside. You go past the bartender on the left as you walk in. This woman with an augmented arm who's slinging intoxicants. In the back where you are, there's a huge commotion. A massive group has formed a circle around one of the tables in the back. And in the center of the group is this large male Vesk standing in armor that is arm wrestling a broken down security robot. The bot is already near half destroyed. It only has like one arm remaining, the other having met some violent end. And it's just saying over and over, please move along, traveler. Please, please, please. And yeah, people are like making side bets. And there's a dwarf who's like, well, I got 5 credits, says here, space lizard's gonna rip the other arm off for you. A human behind him is like, well, I'm only gonna pay if he does it in a fell swoop. The machination in this thing is already near destroyed, so it's not if he's gonna tear the arm off. He's a giant space lizard. He's gonna tear the arm off, but how fast he's gonna do it, I'll put some money on that. Yeah, so this group is taking all kinds of bets, sir, on how fast the Vesk can complete the task. And right behind him, a female with a little bit of orcish blood in her, maybe pale tint to her green skin, slaps you on the shoulder and says, say, stranger, we didn't catch your name, Vesk man. Tyler, who is it that you're playing?
I'm playing Edrass Varanus.
Edrass Varanus.
Yep.
What's Edrass look like?
Yeah, I was really excited. I really wanted to play a Vesk ever since they were announced. So Edrass is a Vesk male. He's big for a Vesk male. He's 7'2".
Ooh,
he's
Cody.
decked out. Yeah, he weighs 375 pounds. He's decked in
boy.
full heavy armor, just big old, but and it's not the prettiest of armor. It almost looks like it's been kind of put back together many times over the years. Very well worn, just kind of plates and straps and stuff. He's got a sash. He's got a big sash.
Big old sash. Yeah, that's what they
big old pirate sash that goes around his waist, and part of it trails off down his leg. His scales, the scales on his body, the typical kind of green with maybe like a bluish tint, but his head scales are reddish and goldish hue, especially towards the top of his head. Ooh. So yeah, and then his tail is green and blue, but the tip of his tail is missing, and it's been replaced by kind of a pointed metal cap that he had put on there after he lost it.
Cool. I think you said pirate sash in there. How many eye patches does he have? Five eye patches, or?
Yeah. If you didn't know, Vesk have 20 eyes, so he's got 20 eye patches.
Well,
you can't see it all.
You can have 5 eye patches on one arm.
just stacked up, just in case one of them
fell
failed.
Off. Yeah. Any eye patches? Yes or no? I need an answer.
No eye patches. He's got 2 very functional eyes.
I'm gonna have to do something about that. Let's get this game going. Yep. I can start stabbing eyes out.
Yeah. Oh, but I forgot to mention on the center part of his armor, he's got a special mark, which is a skull with like the rays of a sun coming out of him. So
that's fun.
That's pretty much what he looks like.
Skulls are fun. So yeah, as they set you up to arm wrestle this hacked and attacked security droid, which is like just a torso, head, and the single arm left. Where it used to have its like shoulder gun, it's like twitching like a phantom limb, just like trying to like shoot you over and over. But it just can't. Make a strength check. Now this is just your strength without any skills kind of added to it. Oh no. There's the other
natural one. That's me.
And Tyler's first roll is a natural
one.
A
natural one, which is pretty much par for the course. So
yeah,
I can't wait to play more of this game.
Tyler plays role playing games like people play golf. The lower the number.
Yeah. I don't understand. Is that not right? I mean, this is the best roll I could possibly have, a natural one, right?
He's just out there attacking everybody with like a carrot, just like throwing rotten fruit at them. Minimum damage. Yeah, so you're able to tear its arm off, but by the time you do, the better part of a minute has passed, and like you go shrunk, and the security robot's arm does fall off, but like the crowd is already dispersed for the most part, and you're only left with a few of them kind of drinking and talking around you, and this half-orc woman to console you, and she says,
You're really good at wrestling. How good are you at drinking? And
Well, I would have liked to rip this thing's arm off a little bit faster, so since I couldn't do that, I think a drink would be very appropriate.
she pours you one, and then pours you 5 more, and she's the crowd begins to reassemble around you and says,
first one to cough like a little gnome baby buys the booze.
Never challenge a lizard to a drinking match.
So these are going to be opposed fortitude saves, and the first one to fail one, your body's just taken so much physical damage to its health and vitality from these fortitude saves. Yeah, you cough up a little bit of alcohol. So you go ahead and roll a fortitude, and I'm going to.
All right. First roll. Let's hope I got the one out of the way.
I've rolled a 19.
So let's see. I rolled a 12.
Okay, so you're fine on the first one. She's fine on the first one. She drinks it. Her head doesn't tilt. She just brings the glass up to her lips, and without like blinking, tosses it down. Do one more for me.
It's a challenge then.
She's doing pretty well.
I got an 18.
Yeah, I've got a 17. She keeps pace. You keep pace. Keep on going. Ooh,
now this is real fun.
She takes another swig.
13.
Ooh, on this one, you cough just slightly as the dwarven heavy chem liquor begins to burn the lining of your throat sac, that vest cap. And the crowd cheers for the orc maiden, and she says, "Tabs on this one."
What a good challenge. Well done. This stuff is strong, though.
There is a lot of commotion going on in the back of the bar. The rest of it's kind of, you can hear people relaxing. Some people just come here to, blow off steam, people that live on the station. Drew, we're moving on to you. And your character hears this commotion in the back, but you're already like halfway through the middle of this conversation when we meet your character. So we see a small Yusoki man talking on the side of the bar near the counter. The woman serving drinks. She hands a beverage with her cybernetic arm, kind of like without looking, to a group of aliens to your side. And you're talking to this crazy looking alien. Drew, why don't you remind us who you're playing yourself?
So I am playing Gnak an Isoki envoy, who is an Isoki. If you're not familiar, a rat man. I am. I'm a rat-based humanoid guy.
What's Gnak Sizrak looking like?
He has gray fur, and you'll know him by his long black coat. But of course, that covers up some more ornate clothing underneath. He just likes to blend in to the background if he can for most of the time.
Yeah, so anything special you like people to know about Gnak, or people would know just by spending a few minutes with him?
A wise man once said that money can't buy happiness and all that glitters isn't gold. But Gnak would say that money can buy things that make you happy, and that guy never saw platinum.
It's better than gold. It costs more than gold. So good. Yeah. So when we meet your character, you, Gnak, are speaking to a contemplative, which is basically a psychic floating brain with a little baby body trailing underneath it. It psychically floats in the air and talks to you like through your brain. And to you, as an envoy, they are always really hard to lie to. They make hard marks, but you are already halfway in a conversation selling this contemplative on buying some property on the starboard side of the station that, if you go to the address, it is just a trash compactor. That's the only thing that could possibly be there. So when we meet Gnak, a massive brain turns around at the bar and says, "I do not know, Mr. Small Sentient Fur Creature. This deal sounds too good to be truthful." This is him like speaking directly into your brain.
I'd like to sense motive to see if they have any sort of psychic connection to me right now.
Yeah.
Rolled an 8.
These things are from Akaton, and you've seen them on the station and other places before. You can kind of tell if you're being mind probed or if they're detecting your thoughts, which is like a lower level one. You rolled an 8. You still don't think
So
you'd be able to miss it.
I'd like to use my expertise die on this to add a sad 2 to this roll to see if
to your sense motive, right? Because you're an envoy. So when you want to get a little extra English on the ball, you can roll a d6 and add it to a couple of skill checks, right?
Yeah, I just sense motive and culture right now. So
okay, well that's all one good. Yeah, you don't. He's just like beaming into your brain. He's not taking stuff from it.
Okay,
but yeah, you're trying to convince him by this property, really just for fun. Why don't you make me a bluff roll, as this contemplative is also going to make a sense motive roll to kind of oppose your bluff. He's trying to tell how, if you're telling a lie or you're obfuscating facts. And that's what bluff does, is you're trying to sell him on something that really doesn't exist. So for my roll, I've rolled a 7 for his sense motive. Roll a d20 and then add whatever your bonus is.
Hey, that's a good one.
What's your bluff bonus? So we've rolled a 16 plus 7 for your bluff bonus. Okay, so doing some quick mental math, 23 will beat probably whatever I've gotten, which is actually a 10, a 7 plus 3. So what do you say to him to get him on the line here?
And the paint color is blue, which I know you love.
I do like blue. How do you know that? Can you read minds too?
Sometimes these psychic powers, they go both ways, but I just feel like we have some sort of connection when it comes to business.
Yes, that sounds fair, but as a precaution, I would like to enter into a mutually agreed brain scan with you. I do it to all people that sell me things. Let's see if a simple scan reveals anything. Do.
He's into your brain.
That's the scan.
do.
Yeah, no, they have to say it too. So Gnak, he
okay.
is indeed doing detect thoughts, kind of at will ability that these massive floating brains have. I need you to make me a will save, which is going to be pretty high DC 15 to avoid being brain scanned. I don't know. I guess you make it. You're just thinking about baseball the entire time.
Can I use a stealth check to attempt to hide certain parts of my thoughts?
You're stealthing your brain away. That is definitely not how stealth works. But
That's
the will save will tell us if you're able to do that. So roll a d20 and add your will burst.
I do like the idea of Gnak just like stealthily letting his brain go out his ear and then just like roll across the ground.
Okay, so you've rolled a 12 and you have a +3 in will. Is that right?
Yeah.
All you needed to beat this, it was DC 15. You have rolled a 12 plus 3, 15. So yeah, he's probing around, and you're just like, don't think about trash compactors. Don't think about trash compactors. Oh boy. And he gets done. He's like, do. Okay, I'm done. I cannot wait to purchase this property. I will have the papers drawn up and the credits wired to you tomorrow. Oh goody, I cannot wait. Do. And yeah, he finishes his drink. I'm pretty sure they do have him out because I think they can't talk. He just like bends down and takes a little sip and then kind of floats away. Says bye.
Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow.
Awesome. So we got to meet all you guys. We're going back to the beginning-ish with Rebecca. We not the beginning, but pretty darn close. Rebecca, Alyndra, has arrived at the HUD Bar, and you walk inside and you see all this crazy happenings going on. Strange creatures breathing the atmosphere, and seedy deals, and more space aliens than you've probably seen in your entire life, all in one. 4 different species and stuff. And it looks like maybe a drinking match is going on. But who you do not see is the Master Postelar. He's a pretty old guy. He would stand out. What do you want to do? Do you want to ask around, or?
Yeah, I'd like to go up to the bartender and see if they've seen him. I think
Sure.
he's pretty famous, so they ought to know who he is.
Well, yeah, no, he's a pretty old guy, and he's, I don't know, he's famous if you're into theoretical astrophysicists.
Well, he's famous to Alyndra.
Yeah.
Other people don't like astrophysicists.
Oh boy, you can't hear how hard I'm pushing my glasses up on the bridge of my nose right now, but I'm doing it real hard. He's famous too, Alyndra. Please make a diplomacy check. Let's try and get some info out of the bartender.
All right.
Diplomacy, yeah, you're trying to make friends. Now, you've rolled an 11. What is your bonus?
7.
Oh, jeez, Louise. I've picked some pretty easy skill checks here at the beginning. So this was a DC 15. But yeah, you go up and talk to her, and this female human bartender says, Elixir is the name, elixirs are the game. How can I legally poison you this evening?
I'd really just like to know where my friend is. His name is Power.
Oh, yeah, Pastelar. The old scientist comes in here. Oh, she reaches on the bar and pulls out an envelope. He said he couldn't be here, but he sent this along and said a friend would come looking for it. So, yeah, she hands you the envelope. It's got your name on it, and inside is a note with his address. The bartender also pours you a drink and hands it over to you and says, the old coot said to buy you a drink as soon as you got here. It's your first time on Absalom Station. Welcome.
Thank you. That's very sweet. Can I tip her a credit?
Yeah, you like wave your cred stick in front of a little cutout figure that looks like her on the bar. That's a cred stick reader, and goes, thanks for the tip.
Big spender, 1 credit tip.
I don't know how this works, okay?
Make sure you deduct that from your sheet. It's important.
I did. I totally just did. Did you just watch me?
We're
Good. That 1 credit.
We're on the up and up here.
It's coming in. It's coming into full story effect later, guys. You're gonna be short that 1 credit. Universe ends. That wasn't that good a service anyway. Yeah, so as you're turning around with, you walk smack into a dwarf, and you don't hit him, but he jumps back, and his hands are shaking a bit. He looks like an old miner, and he spills his beverage all over himself. He goes, what do you do?
Oh, I'm very sorry. I grabbed for some napkins off the bar.
You intent adult. Watch where you're going.
I apologize.
He looks upset. He looks pretty upset, but he wipes his face and he takes a drink out of your hands and kind of just tops himself off. Drinking 2 different intoxicants, he doesn't care. He just mixes them together. But this gets the attention of this guy towards the front of the bar. He says, pretty loud enough for a lot of people in earshot to hear. He said, should round up a lot of them and ship them all back to where they came from, I say. It's a pretty weak-chinned human dude walks over, and on his shirt he's got an insignia of a red fist. And anyone in the main bar here, all of you guys, if you'd like, can give me a culture check to see if you know what this red fist is all about.
Yeah.
So we got a 15, 18 from Gnak. 15
now keep in mind,
Lendra.
Gnak also has any culture check that is of the underworld is minus
Alyndra,
5.
Alyndra's is actually a 16.
Mine's 13.
Most everybody except the old Vesk, who might not be so familiar with the Pact World. Everybody else, you've heard of this before, happened on the station. You recall the information. These guys and a few of his friends in the back are rabble rousers, and they all have the same shirt on. They call themselves the SAM, the Strong Absalom Movement, and they're a bunch of refugee races, races that make up the majority of Absalom's population from the long gone Golarion. And they think that the old races should have more rights and freedoms on the station than out-of-stationers or off-worlders like you guys. So another one comes up and says, looky what we got here, boys. This Lashunta thinks she can come into a stationer bar and start throwing drinks on old dumb minor dwarves.
Hey, I really didn't throw it on him. I turned around and he ran into me. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
Well, even if you didn't mean to, we don't like your kind here. We got all kinds of problems with Lashuntas in this bar. And then we got this overgrown stink lizard in the back. He points at you, Edrass, and it gets your attention. Like he wants you to know he called you a stink lizard. He points at Andis, who's just minding his own business, didn't do anything. He says, and your damn clackers over here taking all the good engineer jobs.
Well, you
Ed-
certainly have one if you were any good at it.
Roll natural 24.
Diplomacy check.
Oh man, pretty good. 18 minus
17.
Nice 17.
his weak chin giblets jostle. He's like, what? But someone else points out, it's like, yeah, and we got this little weasel walking around, stealing probably all kinds of stuff. You know, they're all thieves and liars. He waves his finger in your direction, Gnak, right at you.
I'm rolling an intimidate check.
Ooh, what do you say to him?
Why don't you come over here and say that?
Another one says, well, that sounds about the best thing you could have possibly said. I say it's about time we took out the garbage. Who's with me? A whole bunch of the red fist shirt guys start yelling. But the entire rest of the bar, all the other people that are just there to drink, they all stand tensely. There's clawed hands that grip tightly to the back of chairs, and fists start clenching underneath tables, and people, like, their hands move to their guns and stuff in their pockets. You got knuckles, the flesh over the knuckles, nearly white as phosphor, as the tension mounts. And everyone just wants to start the fight, but they want not to be the one to throw the first punch, because that person gets dogpiled.
I do a stealth check.
You're under the table.
Right. Edrass would stand up and be like, "Let's have a fist fight!" And
so Raimi, we're back to you. You're
am
walking...
I in the bar?
No, you're nowhere.
Okay.
You're walking up to the bar right now, and you've reviewed all the data on these people that you're supposed to be meeting up with. As you step inside, there's liquid atmosphere spilling out the door, subliming into this noxious green gas at your feet, and a huge number of fistfights have already broken out all over the bar, and you see all four of your contacts here in a pitched battle. Alyndra in the back is dodging punches from a small halfling smoking an e-pipe, and he's like going at her ankles with some vicious kicks. Edrass seems to be fighting off the advances of a large half-orc woman who's maybe both trying to mate and or kill him at the same time.
That sounds about right.
The small Gnak is drifting in and out of combat, hitting people in their soft spots, because he's right there at groin level on most medium creatures, at least.
I have to say in character that you hit what you can hit.
You can reach, exactly.
You go where the fists go. Andis, a half-orc man, has got you in a headlock and is trying to cut off your air supply. He's been doing it for like a minute and getting nowhere. He's starting to tire himself out. He's like, oh, why don't you go down? It doesn't work.
It doesn't, no.
bold strategy.
Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out.
Raimi, you're struck with something that you know in particular about this bar, even though you've never been here before. A lot of people come to the bar probably without ever knowing what HUD stands for, HUD. Some people might think it's a reference to the readout in a spacer's helmet, the heads-up display. And there's a whole group of people that think it's the initials of the original owner who founded it way before the Gap started. So it's probably hundreds of years old. And all that was lost to memory. And the name likewise has probably been forgotten too. But you know what HUD really stands for. It's short for an old battle cry that the Pact World soldiers used to say before they went into a fight with the Vesk or Swarm. And it's a mantra that you repeat to yourself now if you want to join in on this fight. HUD stands for Heroes Until Death.
Aww.
What do you do? What do you do, Raimi?
I look at this ragtag group of people that I'm being thrown in with. I see that everyone's involved in a fist fight. I see that there's a table next to me that has a unmanned drink. I grab it, I sip, and lean against the wall.
Right above your head on the wall is an electric sign that advertises Blitzer beer drink, and it flickers for a moment as you kind of rest your back against it. And then in large green letters, it reads, "A few hours later." And we're back where we started in that dark alley, and you guys are beat up to hell and back. Raimi, you escape pretty much unmolested. Alyndra's face, though, is covered in this like gray dirt, this like goop, and she's all disheveled. Gnak, your fur is ruffled completely. Like it's all like in different directions. Edrass is covered in the blood of his enemies and maybe orc lipstick. And all the lines on Andis's body are pulsating blue as nanites or something works to heal him internally. But yeah, the man that stands before you Raimi knows. This is Blex Forbin, underworld fixer galore, and he gives Raimi a knowing glance as he continues to read off this list of crimes and the offenses that you committed. But it's in a very serious manner. He says, littering, really, littering, guys. I mean, it's up to us to keep this station clean. Please clean up after yourself. And he hands it to Alyndra, a little piece of paper, and this is the one that's got the Master Pusselar's address on it. It's up to us to keep the station clean.
Literally, littering is the worst thing anyone could do.
He gives you a sour look, Alyndra.
I'm sorry.
But
was that silence out of shame?
Yeah, no,
That was shame
can't-
silence.
we can't hear shame, believe it or not. But Blex looks over the five of you, and he's still shaking his head and like clicking his teeth, like. And he looks over back at you, Raimi, and says, "Oh, Raimi, I mean, I'm really disappointed in you. This is the team that you wanted, the team that you put together."
Wanted, put together. Those are two things that were the opposite of how I felt about this.
Oh boy. Roll with the punches there, Raimi. The record for unlawful charges in a single bar fight on Absalom Station, is 172, and you didn't even manage to get a quarter of that many. You guys must all be rusty or something.
Well, you did say roll with the punches, and let the record show I threw not a one.
That's all your style, though, isn't it? The smile, spreads across his face. He slaps Raimi on the back. He says, "I took care of station security and told him how them gaping-mouthed strong Absalom jerks started the fight. And they all got thrown in jail faster than an overclocked drift drive." Everyone looks at Andis and his creepy laugh.
That was unique.
And then I whispered to Blex, I was like, "Is this really the team that you're sitting with?"
Oh yeah, no, they're really starved for new members. They'll take anybody right now. He says, "Looks like you're all ready for your Starfinder commission. Maybe get a good night's rest. Report back in the morning at Dock 94, and you're going to be meeting up with your venture liaison, and he'll get you hooked up with a job. Plenty of work to be had for crews like yours, what knows how to throw or take a punch." We're going real quickly into a little epilogue for your characters as we close down here. Raimi, you're back. You're looking at this personal data on your computer in the back of another intoxicant bar, one that's much quieter than the HUD, and you've got a large booth to yourself and going through these dossiers of Alyndra, Gnak, Andis, and Edrass. You've mixed into the dossiers given to you by Blex, maybe some hacked files. You've pulled all kinds of records and licenses that are in these people's names. Looking over these four, what do you think about them?
Well, Edrass I know from way back.
Yeah, you've worked with them, but do you trust them completely?
I don't trust anyone completely. Not anymore. But Edrass is someone I've worked with. I know is good at what he does. He's good in a fight. And I've also just been keeping a little bit of the lower profile recently.
But work is hard, and this is like like I said, good credits.
I've come across Gnak before. Not enough to say that I know him. But I know of him, and I've used Andis before as far as a mechanic goes. Alyndra's the only person that I have never met.
Complete question mark. Yeah, but I mean, you don't really know too much about any of these figures, and you're unable to get documents on everyone past 10 years or so. There's some really crazy stuff in doing your searches that you're not able to pull up, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So this is definitely the largest team that you've worked with, and definitely one of the most uncertain partnerships. As we leave Raimi here on Absalom, he closes out his his hacked records and finishes drink. What's he thinking about?
Right now he's thinking of how this team is ever going to work together.
Andis, while you're walking back to, I guess you'd stay in a capsule room, a hotel that's all just coffin-sized beds that are rented out for either travelers staying a very short while or androids that don't really need space.
Yeah, they just don't care. Yeah,
yeah, they're just oh, this is where I keep my single toothbrush and that's it. And you've got some time to reflect on your new teammates. What do you think about these people you just met?
Well, they all seem fine. I like that they didn't put up with bullies.
Yeah,
I
that's
think-
kind of a strong word. It was more like had a fist fight with.
Well, you punch Nazis when you meet them, you don't meet a Nazi every day, and when you do,
When they're Sam
Strong
thugs.
Absalom
punch 'em.
movement.
Yep.
Members. Sammies, I guess.
Oh, are they
Oh,
called
wait.
Sammers or just Sams?
I'm making that up. Sams. No, but
Sams.
yeah.
Any thoughts in particular about any of them stood out to you?
Gnak seemed scrappy. Alyndra held her own in fight. Edrass was impressive. And Andis, I don't think noticed Raimi in the back of the bar, and only saw him once we were all outside.
So as you're walking, you pass by on the other side of the street 3 men across the corridor, and they're in black robes, very much like the man that you met earlier. It's very dark in this street down in the Spike, and it's pretty much empty because it's past midnight. It's empty except for you and them, and they see that you see them, and they just stare in your direction. After maybe a few moments, they kind of retreat backwards into a darkened alleyway, and you hear the sound of a metallic automatic door shutting, metal locks clicking into place.
Well, there's all sorts on this station, and that's why I keep a baton in my wrist slot. So.
You know what the old saying goes. That's why I keep a baton in my wrist slot.
Grass tastes bad.
You know what my grandma used to always say. Yeah, no. As you walk away, maybe think about like, who are those people? Did they want to fight? Elsewhere, a robed figure watches a bank of computer monitors, and they're all keyed into the street outside, and a few of them are focused on Andis 147. And you stand there for a while before you begin to walk away. One of the robed figures leans in closer, and an augmented hand reaches out from the thick folds of the robed arms and touches the screen, and a metallic finger lightly taps on the crystalline there until you walk out of view. Gnak, down another street in the ring, a very tired Gnak Sizrak, still drunk with the fight, the thrill of the action, is heading back to your hotel. You spy a credit station alone on the opposite side of the street. It's empty. And you saunter on up to it and take from one of your secret jacket pockets inside your inside breast of your leather jacket a very heavy credit stick that looks to be plated in platinum and precious stones. What do you do with it?
I put it in and load up some of the credits for the credit stick into my account.
So yeah, you like wave it in front of the reader. You have to like do some quick tapping of information. The screen goes green and black for a second. Normally it'd be like a normal credit window. It's like, yeah, deposit, withdraw. But now it's much more complicated. It looks like it's a different operating system. And this one has at the heading in another language, not uncommon. In the account readout section, there's a different name, and there's a number in the amount there that is a very large number, and there's a lot of zeros trailing behind it. As you start to transfer money, yeah, the screen flickers for a moment. Whenever you press the transfer button, it kind of like freezes and goes. The account seems to be inaccessible, and then after a few tries, in bright red letters, the words flash across the screen. And a voice says,
"Assets detained. General Order 2814 of the Order, the Pact Alliance Credit Authority. Please stand back or lethal force will be administered."
Pronk me.
So yeah, you do step away from it, I hope. Gnak's gone forever. What's Gnak thinking about as we step away from him?
Well, this is gonna complicate things a little bit for my setup. Guess I'm gonna have to go back and see what that whole gathering was all about.
Edrass, on the way back to your rented flop house in the Armed Stalker District, 2 human men step out of a dark corridor. They brandish small shivs against you, and they look pretty malnourished and sickly, and they're like, "Give us your money, green scale."
Yeah, whatever credits you have on you. We'll take whatever credits.
Edrass would just look at him. Do you really think that your little shivs have any chance against me? Edrass Varanus?
They look at each other and they're like, yeah. And they try and stab you, and your armor very easily absorbs a blow, and the blades just snap in half. What do you want to do?
He just kind of looks at him. I tried to warn you.
So you're tired from the earlier fight, maybe, but you have rested up. Maybe used a resolve and got your stamina back. Do you want to fight these guys?
No, I'm just gonna. I think I would just intimidate him, and I would just say, "Get out of here."
Yeah. So they're already alarmed by your prowess, so they fall backward and like knock into each other, Keystone Cop style, kind of scrambling away, knocking over a recycling bin and sending it sprawling as they go. Yeah, and you look around, there's no one else anywhere near you, so you just kind of keep on walking. But about 500 feet down the block, there's a cloaked figure that watches this whole interchange through the scope of a rifle. You see the crosshair kind of levied between you and these two guys. And it's a Sheeran with a blackish green chitinous armor, and he's wearing some technological goggles, and his cloak blends him into the background until he moves slightly forward and lifts the goggles up, and he says,
Yes, he is on the move. Unharmed. Mostly unharmed. Many things to report. We'll send details at 0100. Cyxel out.
Alyndra. Traveling to the address on the paper, the automated doors open up as you put your palm onto them, and you head up to the 17th floor and into Pasalar's apartment. And as you walk in, a video message begins to play on a wall. It's a vid of Master Pasalar himself. He's probably well over 100 years old, so very old for a human man. And this vid says, if you're here and I'm not, then please make yourself at home. Feel free to charge any food or beverages to the home's account, and I'm sure I'll be home soon. The vid turns off. So wandering around the apartment, you see the food in the cooling unit looks like it's gone off. Maybe he's not been here in some time. The plants are all well watered, but doesn't seem like they've been cared for. There's like a little bit of dust built up on them. It's a very nice apartment. Very, very nice. He's got like a very expensive looking guest bedroom. And you're all dusted up from this fight, and you've got this gray goop on your face. Do you wash up before you mess up the professor's nice bedspread?
Yes, I was going to say I go and take a shower or whatever I do in
Yeah, well,
Absalom Station.
I mean,
I take a space shower.
space shower. Well, I mean, first you could just like you look at yourself in the mirror and the turn on the faucet's water, and it's filtrated, it's beautifully, nicely heated, and it makes scrubbing away all that dirt really easy. And you begin to feel amazing, clean for the first time since you left Castroville days before. Outside in the hallway, a security camera peers from the hall into the bathroom, and it catches the back of your head and a portion of the mirror that stands before you. As you bend down to wash your face, the camera watches as your reflection in the mirror remains standing still. At first it stares straight ahead, and then it bends its neck down and peers at you. Alyndra, while the warm water washes over you, the steam rises, fogging the mirror slightly, obscuring this image, but your reflection face grimaces, and the eyes slowly turn pitch black, like a storm cloud rolling across its irises. And its hands rise up to meet its face, jerking alien movements. Its fingers crawl like little serpents over your skin's reflection. The fog in the mirror begins to encircle this image and creates a frame. The camera can still see it. Your reflection's fingers find an eyelid, then a nostril, finally the lower lip, gape mouth. And with a mind all their own, they all begin to pull in different directions at the flesh, gently at first, but with greater vigor as the skin begins to slowly tear apart. Rips begin to... The reflection looks like it's screaming, though all anyone hears is the rushing water of the tap. The steam envelops this horrible visage in the mirror as you turn the faucet off and dry your face on a nice clean towel. But something's written, Rebecca, in the steam on the mirror. Do you see what it says?
Do I?
Yeah, it's 3 words. If you squint, you can see them.
Okay.
It reads, "To be continued."
Oh, boo!
Oh.
Dang it! We're going long, so I had to wrap it up right then and there. That does it for this episode of Cosmic Crit. Thanks for joining us. We're going to see you
Thanks,
next
everybody.
week.
Oh my gosh, what a steamy ending!
Oh, boy.
That was creepy.
That's our sign off forever and ever. Another
What a
Stevie and
creepy
Deanie.
ending. Oh.
Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Night.
You've been listening to Cosmic Crit, a Starfinder role-playing game actual play podcast. If you like what you hear and want to know more, find us online at cosmiccrit.com, where you can see our character sheets, read their backstories, and check out all of our art. Follow us online at Cosmic Crit on the Twitter and the Instagram, or send us an email, a question, a comment, or a critique at cosmiccrit@gmail.com. Our theme music is Epic Song by the band Alpha Brutal. You can find them online at alphabrutal.bandcamp.com. Thanks for listening, and until next time, may all your crits be cosmic crits.